Hey guys, welcome to the video. And today I'm going to give you 6 different things that I've noticed about the Carbon Trad arrow by Victory Archery coming up. Okay guys, first things first. First on my list in terms of what I was looking for when I was looking for an arrow was style. I'm a traditional archer, and I know that a lot of other traditional archers out there will appreciate and will also relate to the fact that they prefer to have something that is more traditional feeling, that looks traditional and more like wood when they're purchasing arrows. In fact, some guys that do traditional recurve hunting or longbow hunting or just traditional in general, some guys prefer to just go all out and just use wood, right? Nothing wrong with that. Where I fall is kind of in the middle. I like to have a recurve bow, which is what I shoot. I shoot a Bear Super Kodiak. It's a recurve bow. And I like to have that bow blended with some modern technology, and that's where the carbon arrow comes in. And so the Carbon Trad by Victory Archery, and I'll show you the tag here just in case you want to go look for it. The Carbon Trad by Victory Archery, I think, is a fantastic looking arrow. The wood grain is unbelievable. I mean, look at it. It's the most realistic wood grain I've ever seen on any of these carbon arrows. Fletchings, also unbelievable in my opinion. I mean, I wouldn't say that they're like totally different than anything I've ever seen before, but they're awesome. The color scheme with the wood I think is fantastic. The knock, bright orange. The knock, I think, is the best part of this particular arrow. I made the mistake of purchasing this arrow with these orange fletchings during fall in Michigan. And anybody who lives in Michigan knows that this color in Michigan in fall, not the best if you lose your arrow, because it's going to blend right in with all the leaves that fall that are that color. So overall, I think the look of this arrow is fantastic. So far, I've not found another arrow that looks this realistic, looks this much like wood, that is carbon. Someone will probably point out another arrow that is similar or even better in the future. Hopefully you do, because I'd love to take a look at it. But until then, I think this arrow is the best looking arrow that I've seen so far when it comes to the carbon traditionals. The next thing on my list, number 2 on my list, is the weight of the arrow. I wasn't really sure what I was going to do with the weight of these arrows because I'd never shot them before. And so my guy over at the pro shop where I go, Zach, he pointed me to the direction of a heavier arrow, and he gave me this, well, he didn't give it to me, he sold me this weighted tip. It makes this arrow heavy for a good reason. He suggested it because of the fact that I don't have as much power for my recurve. And so what this would do is it would penetrate better. And it does. The weight of this arrow helps it penetrate better, I've noticed. And when I'm practicing on 3D targets, I notice sometimes it even comes out the other side. It doesn't pass through these targets, of course, but it will come out the other side sometimes. It definitely penetrates better because of the weight. So with that being said, the weight of it does make it quieter, which I enjoy. But what I don't like about the weight and it being a heavier arrow is it tends to be harder to tune. I don't know why that is, but when I compare this to my lighter arrows that are also carbon, this doesn't tend to group as closely for me. I don't know why I can shoot a closer group with lighter arrows. I just can. So maybe somebody out there can explain to me why that happens. But weight was number 3 on my list, and it's a pretty good arrow. It flies pretty consistently for me on it. I'm able to get it to group pretty good. But other than that, number 3 on my list would be speed. It's a slower arrow because of the weight. That's just the way that it is. And I don't particularly like the fact that it's slower. I just enjoy shooting a faster arrow. So I was a little bit disappointed in the fact that it was a slower arrow. But again, it makes it quieter. So I do enjoy that aspect of it. I'm a little bit torn because of these extra benefits from the weight. Those benefits being the quieter arrow and the impact. But it is slower, and I don't enjoy that for getting accurate shots as much. For whatever reason, that's probably just a mental thing with me, but I don't do as good when they are slower. So in addition to that, the overall flight, which is number 4 on my list, the overall flight I want it to be consistent. So I didn't want it to be knocking to the left or knocking to the right because it was over or under spined and hard to tune because of that, or knocking up or knocking down, which is largely related to the spot on my string. So this arrow, pretty much right away, it was good. I didn't need to tune it much. It was a little bit over spined, I think, so it knocked a little bit to the right, but I found out that with all of these carbon arrows that I'm testing, if I just simply improved my form, it made it so that it wasn't knocking to the right or left or up and down as much. So the flight on this, I'm impressed. I like it for the most part. The only thing I didn't like is it's a little bit slower, like I said. And every now and then, if I get a little sloppy with my form, it does do a funny knock to the right. But, you know, honestly, overall, I've been pretty impressed with it, and I'm not at all displeased with the fact that I spent money on 3 of them so far. In addition to that, impact. That's number 5. I was looking for how big of an impact was this going to have on the animal that I was going to be harvesting, whether it be deer or small game or whatever it was going to be. I primarily bought this arrow for deer because of the heavier nature of this arrow and the heavier setup, rather, of this arrow. And the impact is great. It's better than all the other arrows that I'm going to review here in the next couple weeks and that I've been trying out. So I think the impact is great. I don't have much else to say about that, though, to be honest with you. I just think that that's a simple thing. Heavier arrows have greater impact, right? So the most important thing, though, which is number 6 on my list, and this is only the most important to me. Maybe it's not to you, but in my opinion, the most important thing on an arrow is durability, right? Because I can get an arrow that will let me harvest an animal and that will, have good impact and have good penetration. But if it doesn't have durability, I might break that thing within the first week of practicing. I might break that thing while I'm out in the woods small game hunting with it. I don't always like to swap out my arrows when I go out small game hunting. So if I'm flinging this thing through the woods where it's dense and there's a lot of cover and a lot of branches that this is going to go through, maybe I'm shooting it up into a tree, or maybe I'm shooting near a stump where a squirrel is sitting or something. You name the thing that could be happening. If I decide I want to use the same arrow for deer, I want the thing to fly well. I want it to perform well after I've used it over and over and over in the woods. This thing is a beast when it comes to shooting it. Look at the arrow, though, down by the tip. There's not a scratch on it. And I don't know how many hundreds of shots I've taken with this arrow so far. It's just a beast. It's so durable. And I think that that's probably true with a lot of carbon arrows. So, out of everything that I've said, number 6, durability, I've been most impressed with. And I was looking for durability more than anything else because of the fact that I knew that if I could get the other areas, the other 5 areas to be good, then if it was durable, man, did I have a winning arrow. And, so far, this has been a fantastically durable arrow. I can't say that it's going to be my main go-to yet, but, it's right in there. It's right in there. I'll let you know over the next couple weeks after I review these other arrows and shoot them a little bit more. But overall, guys, the Carbon Trad by Victory Archery I think is a fantastic arrow. I would give it a shot. Go check out your local pro shop and see if they have one that you can test out. See if you can take one home and see how it shoots for you. But I think that the things that I mentioned you'll find to be true. If not, let me know in the comment section below. I'm also interested in finding out what your thoughts were when you tried it out. So if you could, let me know in the comment section below what your experience has been with the Carbon Trad by Victory. I'd love to share those experiences with you, and maybe you'll help me out a little bit, even by giving me some tuning tips that you found with your experience. So until next time, guys, have a great one, and good luck in the woods.